Hello YouTubers, this is the Noobifier. Star Citizen is a first-person, massively multiplayer online universe that's set in a sandbox, and I think most would agree that it isn't meant for you to do everything by yourself. The game is being purposely constructed to encourage players to work together. Most ships can't do it all by design, some ships require team effort, and some missions are being designed to be too hard to complete alone. I actually started this topic over 2 weeks ago, and it took that long to produce because I wanted to present a broader perspective within the community. As a content creator, it makes sense that I should read your comments. I see many divides within the community, from the quantity pledged, the types of ships that the backers have in their fleets, and what those citizens feel that they want to do when the game is released. It seems crazy to me that in 2020, there are still those who wish to have a PvP slider or custom player servers because they feel they would enjoy their time better without any distraction of hostility. The creation of Star Citizen at Kickstarter seemed to have a very clear goal as to the type of game it would be. It would be a PvP universe balanced by law, consequence, bounty, and permadeath. Stretch goals were added, the scope and scale grew, and despite some design documents over the years, there's still a lot of ambiguity about what Star Citizen will become. I think I have an idea what it is and what it's becoming, but ultimately, I'm not driving the ship, and neither are you. Chris Roberts builds Chris Roberts games the way Chris Roberts builds games because he's Chris Roberts. What is to be expected, however, is that as more ships are released, some new ones might confuse or invalidate older concepts. The Carrack launch in 2015, in my opinion, completely made the Aquila, which was the Explorer powerhouse at the time, a less appealing ship to own. The Carrack offered more of everything, and people made the switch, perhaps without considering larger crew requirements or how the weapons were arranged. There are some ships whom I believe are soloable if the situation is low threat and you're willing to take a risk. These are the Cutlasses and Freelancers, in some cases ships such as the Mercury, Apollo, and the Taurus. There are some ships that, despite having a crew station and more seats, still have the majority of the functionality available to the pilot. Because of this, I would suggest that the Vanguard might be a better solo ship than the Hurricane. Most of the Hurricane's damage potential comes from the turret, forcing you to crew it or lose it. In the future, would it be enough to pay an AI or install an automation blade to replace the player? I can't see them ever making an AI more effective than a player because it goes against the idea of teamwork. Good enough skill and function, but not great, and not better than a player. That was specifically how Chris said it would be over 2 years ago, and now we need to wait and see. The M.O.L.E opened up an interesting question, and it's the point of the video. We have some rocks that simply can't be cracked by one prospector. Rather than teaming up with a second prospector, could one player in a single M.O.L.E leverage this ship's increased output and solo these larger rocks? You could scan and position the M.O.L.E over one rock, switch seats, and operate the single size 2, frack the rock, and then switch back. Leaving the pilot seat might seem very sketchy, because with mining specifically, you may need to pull away quickly from a runaway rock. It seems totally clear that they designed the pilot station without access to the drill, but by switching seats, it is physically possible. There will always be an issue of players who might prefer to take your stuff rather than mine for it themselves, and undercrewing a M.O.L.E might then just be too risky, which you can offset by asking a friend to escort. You see how this topic quickly becomes more complicated when you consider dollars per hours against sharing the profits and the risk. I think that the fun of the game and the spirit of group play itself could be the reward. So if it pleases me, I actually plan to ride shotgun and run the drill for an org mate when the opportunity presents itself. I think we'll get to a point where wasting time in Star Citizen won't be a waste of time as long as you're enjoying yourself with your friends. I also think that we're quite a ways away from that. A member of the org that I'm part of, Vasi, is a veteran of EVE, and as that game is established, most of the meta and workarounds have been found. The idea of multiboxing several accounts, either simply with several computers at arm's reach or with specific software designed for the task, is quite common. This lets one player operate as 2, 3, or more. Perhaps impractical for controlling several prospectors, but the M.O.L.E seemed as a perfect test candidate, as there is one complex crew station and 3 simple ones. The setup required several player accounts, several computers, good internet, creative use of desk space, and some micromanagement to get everything set up. The benefits are clearly being able to operate as more than one person and circumventing some ship limitations. You will need to work a little bit more and micromanage. He confirmed that solo M.O.L.E rewards 3 times higher than a single prospector, plus he had no need to split up his profit. He went on to say that multiboxing the M.O.L.E has confirmed for him that the Orion should also be soloable. A rare dedicated player should be able to do it if that player considers security and additional operations such as cargo and scouting. Site prep would be everything here, and it would be smart to mine very far away from popular jump points. He said it would be something he would do when no one else was online, or when players were playing elsewhere and all that he wanted to do was grind a little bit of credit. The idea of multiboxing then would seem fine, sometimes, but it's not how I would choose to play the game all the time. The complexity and clutter is significant, plus it can take a lot of time to get your team together without timing out for inactivity. Multiple keyboards, multiple computers, and multiple accounts. He said that character separation can become an issue on a server crash, a ship blowing up, or one of your accounts timing out. This might mean some waking up at Olisar and others waking up at Levski. If your bot only has a basic starter ship, it could take 30 minutes to get linked up again. He did say that the rewards were clear if everything went as planned and nobody messed with him. He said that he wants to test running 2 prospectors at the same time, so please stay tuned. I will present a follow-up on his findings. Some have suggested that doing this would be a breach of TOS, and without clear confirmation from SIG, we brainstormed a little bit. Is it cheating or actually against the spirit of the game? It would seem not, for several reasons. You actually have to buy the extra character slots, and technically, it would seem no different to the server as if 2 or 3 people were playing from the same IP. This could be a husband and wife teaming up perhaps, or one person playing 3 characters. I'll end with a thought and a question. My thought is that the universe and how we play will change greatly once we can hire NPC crew members to work on our crew stations. Being able to hire an NPC to operate the lasers while you fly and issue orders might completely invalidate multiboxing, providing that their salaries are reasonable. And the question is, can you please post your thoughts about this subject, what you feel about PvP, if you feel that multiboxing is something that you'd be willing to try, and any other comments that you have. Thank you very much for spending your time with me. This video collaboration did take some time to put together, so if you got something out of it, please do us a solid and share it with a friend or orgmate. Fly safe, and I'll see you in the verse.